any single person will have a, big, as big influence as, 20 years ago or 40 years ago.
I think the important thing is that our trade and investment with China and with Hong Kong is a much broader issue than any individual. And looking to the future, we see a very promising future.
Speaking off the record, Beijing analysts say the death is actually good news for China. Chen was a hardline communist opposed to much of Deng Xiaoping's economic reforms. And without CHEN YUN, China's open-door policies can be opened a little bit more. Morland Sanders, TVB News, Beijing.
CHEN YUN had his fair share of the ups and downs of Chinese politics during his life. He was one of the main economic czars in the 1950s, but later lost the battle against his political rivals. CHEN YUN was one of 8 men who came to be known as the Immortals of China after the June 4th crackdown on Tiananmen Square. He backed the action of the troops as the top echelon of the Chinese Communist Party became embroiled in self-preservation. Although none of the so-called immortals has any official posts, these veterans of the Long March held the fate of a nation in their hands. One by one, they have been fading away in recent years. 5 are still in the longevity race. CHEN YUN was the main rival of the most powerful of the immortals, Deng Xiaoping, the 90-year-old they call the patriarch. The two have clashed over how fast economic reform should proceed. CHEN YUN advocated the cage theory, that economic planning is a cage and the market a bird allowed only restrained liberty. He was the only one of the old guards who never saw the special economic zones, the coastal cities of China given almost a free rein to develop their wealth. CHEN YUN held his own throughout his political career, and his outspokenness against Deng and Mao meant he paid his price on the roller coaster of Chinese politics. He joined the Chinese Communist Party when he was 20, under the wings of Zhou Enlai. A high flyer within the party, he was in the Politburo by the time he was 30. After the Communist victory in 1949, Chen became a vice premier with an economics portfolio. He then set out the first 5-year plan, laying the foundation for the industrialization of China. Then came the Great Leap Forward. CHEN YUN faded into the background as Mao isolated him over disagreements on how fast reform should happen. The leap forward took the economy backward. Coupled with natural disasters, China was brought to her knees. CHEN YUN came back onto the scene in 1962. Together with Deng Xiaoping, Zhou Enlai and Liao Shaoqi, he tried to breathe life into the Chinese economy again. Despite his working-class background, CHEN YUN did not escape the purges during the Cultural Revolution. He was relieved of all leadership posts. After the ousting of the Gang of Four, CHEN YUN made a